Well, I can't believe that we're already into the third week of the Lenten season. And already here in Hamilton, Ontario, we are seeing early signs of spring. In my own Lenten experience, my own Lenten devotionals that I've been doing these past couple of weeks, I have been drawn to the story of Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 19, and also to the story of Jesus' wilderness experience and his temptation in the wilderness. But particularly this story of Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 19. Here we have the story where Elijah has gone into the wilderness. He's running away from Jezebel, who has a death threat out against him, really. She wants him captured and she wants this prophet Elijah destroyed. So he goes into the wilderness. In this wilderness experience, he's telling God, I've had enough, Lord. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors. And he lays down under a bush and he falls asleep. And during that time, an angel comes to him, and an angel speaks to him and brings him some food. Later on in 1 Kings chapter 19, in verse 9, it says, "And the word of the Lord came to Elijah." The word of the Lord to Elijah was, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" A couple of times in this chapter, that question is brought to Elijah by the Lord. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" And that is the phrase that has stood out to me in this past couple of weeks, last week when I read it. And it continues to resonate in my heart and in my mind, particularly in this season that we are in. And we've been in this season of this global pandemic now for over a year. And in just another week here in Canada is when things really started to shut down. So it's been a year. And perhaps many of us are asking the Lord, well, we've had enough, God. We've had enough. When is this going to be over? But in this Lenten season, I hear this question from God into my heart. Perhaps you can hear this question of God into your heart too. What are you doing here? What are we doing in this season of waiting, this season of longing, that we want this to be over? I understand, my friends, we're all tired of this lockdown, or tired of staying at home, or tired of not being able to be with our family and friends. But have we also taken the time to hear God say to us, well, what are you doing with this time, Sandra? What are you doing in this season? Are we taking the time to listen to what God might be saying in our hearts? Because that's the stirring that's going on in me in this season. This question is resonating with me. What am I doing here? What am I doing in this season? How is God ministering to me and speaking into my heart? And so I put the challenge out to you, my friends, wherever you are, that you might hear God say to you, what are you doing in this season? Are you drawing closer to me? Are you taking the time to reflect on the relationship that we have, the relationship between you and God, and perhaps how that impacts your relationship with other people? It's a powerful question. And I hear God asking it to me, and I'm taking this time, and I have been taking time over these past few months to deepen my relationship with God. And as I enter into this season of Lent, as I enter into this desert experience with Jesus, as he entered into the desert as well, I'm allowing God's word to feed me, which is what Jesus did in the wilderness. He allowed God's word to feed him. And may we allow God's word to feed us in this season as well. So God bless you all wherever you are, and whatever you're experiencing in your life today. May you sense God's blessing and God's presence and God's whispering into your life today, as it did for Elijah. Because it was only when Elijah was silent, when he was still, that he heard that still small voice of God. It wasn't in the fire, it wasn't in the wind, it was in the still small voice that spoke into his heart, when he allowed himself to be still and to be quiet before the Lord. May you find that time as well, or take that time to be still before the Lord in these days. God bless you all.